This time on Between the Wheels.
A lot of guys build it for top speed. I built this for how fast I can get to that speed. This engine here is just under 400 horse. This 8 cylinders. Okay, so it's 306 cubic inches. Getting into a plane and the liftoff, I love that feeling.
So what drives you with this car?
Just the fun of having it. And this.
Bought it new in 1970.
Those were the best days of our lives, I think.
17 years old when I bought that car.
Ran on the street. I went there, made noise, and went home.
Yeah, that's what it feels like in a 9-second car.
Got it up on jack stands and I cried.
Most people would look at it and say, it's a basket case, you can't fix that.
I mean, we didn't have any safety checks and none of this bullshit down. I mean, everybody just drove a car, you know.
At 40 miles an hour, if you're gonna crash in this thing, you're friggin' dead.
I spent probably 16-hour days. I would end up sleeping in the body shop in a car.
It's gonna be a lot of work, and she said, who cares?
It wasn't that we had money falling out of our pockets. We made the car happen because of the desire to restore the car.
So I'm standing here in Emblem with Gilles, with his beautiful Mustang here. It's nice to meet you, man.
Hey, nice to meet you too.
This is a hell of a car. Tell us about this vehicle.
It's just my old $75 car.
75 bucks.
Yeah, a friend of mine who was a neighbor when I was out living in Orleans, and he was working in Rockland at a used car dealership, and saw this car sitting out in the back. It just been traded in. Figured he'd ask his boss, well, what's with the old Mustang in the back? He says, my niece traded it in. It's a piece of junk, doesn't run anymore, stuff like that. And I come home from work, he's sitting on my front porch. He says, come with me, he says, I want to show you something. I bought something, but I want to show it to you. You know, I get into his car, go into Rockland, and he shows me the car in the back. Oh, that's pretty clean, it's not bad. It's pretty beat up, but it's pretty clean. He says, yeah, he says, I bought off my boss for 75 bucks.
And what year was this in?
Around 93, yeah. The car was like 10 years old at the time, but it was pretty beat.
75 bucks worth a little more back then, but not. I mean,
yeah. Well, what you get for 75 bucks now isn't what you got for 75 bucks then.
No,
you know?
But still, that's a ridiculously low amount of money for any vehicle.
Yeah. It's a 1990 block, Ford Racing heads, Edelbrock aluminum intake, Ford Racing X-Cam, Holley's 650 double pumper carburetor. Block is out of a Crown Vic.
Really?
Yeah. And the internals of it are like hyper-eutectic pistons, balanced crankshaft from Ford Mustang HO.
So this is not the original engine, obviously.
No.
You pulled this engine?
The engine that was in this car was just a 4-cylinder.
Right, okay.
Just a 2.34 cylinder that idled at 3,200 RPM because the engine was shot.
Oh my gosh. And how much horsepower does that have versus what you have here?
That engine was probably about 75 horsepower.
75? That feels like a lawnmower. That's hilarious.
My four-wheeler's got more power.
Oh my gosh, 75 horse.
Yeah, and this engine here is just under 400 horse. This is 8 cylinders.
Okay. So
it's 306 cubic inches.
Okay, so V8.
302 bored 30 thou oversized, which comes up to 306 cubic inches.
Unreal.
So the cylinder heads are all aluminum, the intake manifold's aluminum. The engine block is actually painted to match the car. It's painted the same color as the car.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and everything I can get chromed or nickel plated or polished, I did.
Mm-hmm.
So like the headers used to be chrome, but now like they're 30 some years old, so they're not chrome that much anymore, but
right.
They turn like a dark gray and blue and stuff like that. But it's
the engine's beautiful though, looks amazing. Like you've done a really good job maintaining it. So one thing you've done here is you've actually hidden all the wires, because I can't see almost any wires.
No, they're all hidden behind the fenders and inside the wiper cowl. That was a thing back then. When I was doing shows, you're looking for hidden points.
Mm-hmm.
So what the hidden points is, if you got wiring that's hidden all over the place, like I got professional judges who are saying, like, you know, put your wires down lower where it's not the first thing you see when you open the hood.
Okay.
Because the wires, like, they're an eyesore. They run up on top here and all this is full of wiring. Up here is all full of wiring.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing you see. So it takes the attention away from what you want to show.
So did you think of the idea to put in the fenders, or did someone tell you, or did you hear?
No, I thought of it, and I was thinking of a way to hide,
Wow.
hide the wiring, and it's like,
You're trailblazing. I love it.
you know, so it's like I'd seen other cars that shows where the wiring was hidden, but not the Mustang. It's all hidden.
But that's the thing. Like taking these to car shows, it's all about paying attention to detail, and that's what you did here, hiding things like the wiring and making things kind of inconspicuous, making your attention the focal point, the engine, and not all the stuff that comes with it. That's a brilliant idea.
You don't want the traffic. My nephew.
He's got a cool car too. Another Ford.
I built that car.
Really?
The rims on that car were on this car.
Wow. Bonjour. It's Ford City.
We're videoing the car. Okay. Yeah, I painted that car outside in the back.
Wow. What year is that one?
89.
89. It's a good year. Unreal. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Oh, you know what? So you're definitely a Ford guy. So.
Yeah. So it's like, no, you know, I wanted, like, this is not the first engine that was in this car.
Right.
Because the first engine that was in this car is actually going in my old van in the back.
Yeah. So you actually have a van. Like, you have your very first vehicle you've ever owned. It's still sitting in the back. It's also Ford.
Yeah, it's a 74 Ford Club Wagon, a window van. Some people would call it a pedal van, but pedal vans don't have windows, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I call them school buses. Yeah, that's it.
So
we actually bought a school bus as a parts truck for the van, so it's like...
And that's a project you're planning on actually doing?
Yeah, I want to rebuild it again.
Nice.
So I've got other toys too on the burner. And
that's right. You got another impressive Mustang that we're going to do next year, actually. You want to quickly talk about that car?
Yeah, it's a 1968 Mustang Coupe. I bought it as a rolling chassis, and basically I had no front end on it. Had a hit in the left front, no interior, no motor, no nothing. Just four wheels and a steering wheel. That's all it was when I got it.
Nice, and we're going to cover that one next year, and that's it's kind of things to come. But let's talk about this car more. What else did you do in terms of exhaust? Any other upgrades you did? What else have you done with vehicles?
This car here is a 1983 body, okay? But these cars were made from 79 right up to 93. So every part from 79 to 93 fit these.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So you can take an older front end, and put it on a newer car.
That reminds me of the Jeep Cherokee. It's like the same thing.
Which is pretty much what I did with this one. Most people would take the new front end and put it on the old car. I went backwards.
Yeah.
I put an older front end, which the nose is off a 1980 Cobra, and the hood is off a 79 pace car.
I was gonna say, because when you sent me pictures here, the look didn't match the year when I saw it. So what the heck is going on with this car?
So this nose has been on the car for maybe 7 years now. So the nose is from 80, the hood is 79, the roof is 81, fenders are new.
Wow.
Suspension is 1990 LX, doors are 90 GT. Spoilers on the trunk are from an SVO Mustang with the sail panels, the shifter boot, the park brake lever is all leather wrapped from the SVO Mustang.
Right.
Taillights, I reproduced some SVO taillights or 93 Cobra, which are the same taillights.
So this thing is just like a mishmash Frankenstein.
It's a Johnny Cash Mustang.
That's amazing. That's cool.
A Johnny Cash
I like that
Mustang.
better, Johnny Cash Mustang.
Yeah, so, you know, he did a Cadillac, I did a Mustang. Hey, why not?
Why not? That's amazing.
You know, and
amazing
basically the coil springs in the front are 4-cylinder coil springs, because the 93 Cobra was running the 4-cylinder springs from the... to give it the stance.
Right.
And they were running the convertible springs in the back, which are a bit heavier to give it like that rake.
Wow.
So the differential was actually a differential when I worked at the Ford dealership. In Ottawa. And it was a 85 Mustang GT. The guy went around a corner, you know, you like burning around corners and sliding the car. Well, he decided to hit a curb. Broke the axle.
So there she goes.
So the insurance bought him a new differential and fired the differential in the car, and this one here was sitting in my bay.
Yeah.
Throw it out, it's scrap metal.
Right.
So I still had the differential in this car. So what I did is I took the axle out of my diff in this car, which was like a 7.5 rear end, which the axles fit the 8.8.
Yeah.
I slid my axle in, boom, I got an 8.8-inch posi in my Mustang now.
Wow. And what kind of advantage does that give doing that kind of upgrade?
It's a bigger differential, much stronger for more power, and it's a more common rear end.
Okay.
The gears in the differential are 410 gears, but they're out of an Explorer.
Wow. And what does that do in terms of performance? Like, what would you get?
It gives you a better acceleration off the line. So it's the The drag racers like them because your engine revs faster. It's not that good for fuel economy.
That's not what these are meant for, though.
I built this car. A lot of guys build it for top speed. I built this for how fast I can get to that speed.
Wow.
I don't like driving fast. I like getting there fast.
So this car was built all for acceleration.
Acceleration, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I love the sound of the acceleration. I like the feel, like, you backing into your seat when you're accelerating. You know how the feeling when you're getting into a plane and the liftoff? Yeah. I love that feeling.
The G-force.
Yeah, it's the G-force. It's all about the rush getting there.
Yeah.
Not how fast you can get there, but the rush of getting there.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for this drive. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
All right, so you worked on this car for over 2 years just to get it on the road.
Yeah.
And how many years did you restore it for?
It's still an ongoing project. So it never ends. Like 3 years ago, I put a brand new interior in it.
Yeah. So you've had it for over 30 years, and it's still not done.
It's an ongoing project. I built the car basically to get it the way I wanted it.
So what type of shape was it in when you saw it?
It was pretty rough. Like the roof had a sunroof on. It was rust over here, and the fenders were all folded over as if they drove on flat tires. And
oh wow!
The hood was all flattened in the front because the hood didn't latch properly, so we're jumping on it to close it. So it was all caved in the front. The doors were all dented, and
wow!
Had like a dark chocolate brown interior and not the right seats in it. It was pretty crappy looking. I was actually looking for a rolling chassis. So my buddy knew I was just looking for a chassis, something that was rust-free. And this car was rust-free, other than like the roof skin being rotten here and dents and stuff like that. But, I didn't want a sunroof, so I cut the roof off, and it's just a sheet metal.
No kidding.
It's a skin. So you take the trim off here, and underneath that is all the spot welds, and here there's like lead fill right there.
Wow.
So the joint's like this wide here, and it's indented. Sit the skin on, spot weld it back in, and done.
No
so this
kidding.
roof is actually off a 1981 Capri.
You would never know. That looks mint. I would put all my money in the line to say nothing's ever been done there.
Yeah, the doors are off a 1990 Mustang GT.
Okay.
The front suspension's off a 1990 LX. The fenders are brand new Ford fenders. Back then you were able to buy them because they'd still made the cars.
Right.
93 was the last year for making the Fox Body.
So how many years did they make this body style for?
From 79 right up to 1993.
1993? Okay.
Yeah, 79, the only difference in doors was the door handle was down at the bottom.
Okay.
That's the only year they had the door handle down at the bottom.
Interesting.
So the rest of them, the door handles at the top, 87 and up, they had speaker holes in them. Pre-87, they didn't have a speaker hole in them because the speakers were in the dash here. I put some different mags on it. I showed the car for years and years, and now it's like car shows are getting dull. Even my wife's not interested anymore. I used to do 16 shows a summer.
Wow. But here's the thing about the shows. We're speaking off camera. You actually mentioned that this car has won a lot of first place.
Yeah. It won, class winners. I did 2 inside shows at the Speedorama and Autorama in the 90s. It won class winner there.
Wow.
I went to Norwalk, Ohio.
Okay. Oh wow, you had all the way in Ohio too.
Brought it to Norwalk, Ohio, won class winner there. I went to Maple Grove a couple times, won class winner there. 1 year we went there and the engine caught fire on the way there in Cortland, New York.
Oh, no kidding. So what did you do?
Had a fuel leak and basically
saw
this guy at the traffic light. We were getting off at Cortland, off the interstate, and I can smell fuel for a few kilometers,
Okay.
And I go, this is not good. We got to pull over, and I'm following some friends. So we decided we're going to pull over in Cortland at the Wendy's, pick up a burger, pick up some lunch, and stopped at the traffic light in front of the Wendy's. And the guy's looking under the car, and he's like this. So the fuel is leaking quite a bit. I go, that's not good.
No.
So the second I touched the accelerator, the hood just lifted with the explosion.
So how'd you put it out?
I rolled it into the parking lot, stopped the car. There was a car behind me. He's leaned on the horn. It's like, he almost rear-ended me. So I told my wife, grab the fire extinguisher. She grabs the fire extinguisher. I popped the hood. I ripped the handle off the hood release. Adrenaline was pumping. I opened the hood, flames coming both sides of my arms, trying not to scratch the paint with the prop rod because I didn't have the lift supports on the hood at the time. As the flames were rolling up both my arms, I had no hair on my arms. My eyebrows are burned and singed. And so wife's trying to pull the pin on the fire extinguisher, but she's squeezing it so she can't get the pin out.
Oh my God.
Give me that. So I grabbed the pin, never found the pin.
Yeah.
and put the fire out, and the fuel leak was all over the intake and all over the motor. The engine bay was all burnt and everything.
So you just pulled the pin out like Thor, and you just...
Oh, I didn't squeeze it. No, if you squeeze it, you can't. You're just like jamming the pin in. So basically, I pulled the pin out and just threw it. I don't know where it went.
Wow.
If I hit somebody, or who knows?
Yeah. So I think the lesson there is drive with a fire extinguisher. I ironically had a fire once in the back seat of my car as well. So
the only reason this car still exists now is because of the fire extinguisher.
Yeah. What a shame it would be. Like, look at this vehicle. There's a lot of work put into this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So basically, that day, the afternoon was spent in Cortland, New York. There was a Parts America across the street. I walked across the street, went and got an air filter. I went and got some engine cleaner. I went and got some rags and separating all the wires one by one.
Right.
Taping them all up. I brought a toolkit. So anyways, you know, I had some tools, some tape, stuff like that. You're going on a long trip, you always bring tools. You know, I got it cleaned up, got it running and everything, so we kept on our way. And the stress from having the fire to getting to Maple Grove in Pennsylvania, well, the gauges weren't working right anymore. Right. There's all sorts of little things. You're all stressed. Okay, is there something else going to go wrong with the car? It's not running right, and you know, there's little things here and there, and you know, you still got the smell from the fire in the car, and so it's like, okay, so we drove it, got it there, and that whole night, at least 8 hours from the time we got there till about 11 o'clock at night, flashlights, and we're cleaning the car, getting it ready for the show the next morning.
So you had a car fire. You put it out and you still went to the car show.
Still went to the car show. I get to the car show in the morning.
Unreal.
And you get a whole bunch of people coming around the car, and they're, you know, Pennsylvania, they got that accent. Like, can't even duplicate it.
Yeah.
So they say, so this is the infamous fire car from Canada, huh? How'd you find out?
Fire car?
Yeah, the infamous fire car from Canada. That's what they called it.
How quick does the word travel there? Oh my goodness.
Well, I said, I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
But the people I went with, they just talked to one person, and the word got around. Yeah. So, well, check out that car over there. It caught fire yesterday, and it's here.
Still here,
like, you know, like all the aluminum was just dark gray and black just from the fire, and the paint on the hood was all bubbled underneath, and I had a little bit of bubbling up here, but not much. But it was under the cowl, so whatever was bubbled was under here, so the cowl's hiding it.
Wow.
You know, so whatever shows is fine.
Yeah.
So that's fine. That's okay. You know, so got the fire out, and I still won first place.
Unreal. Well, you know what? That was well deserved, because that's the Rocky story right there. You got up and you just fought back.
It's like you don't give up.
No, you can't give up.
You kick me when I'm down, but I'll still get up. Like,
that's right.
It's you don't give up. Yeah. You know, you got to fight for what you want, and that's it.
Aggressive punch to it.
This is the only way I want to get into the corn. Tires broke loose there.
Yeah. This is really, really cool ride, man. So what's it like having this car for over 30 years?
Well, it's fun. It's fun. Grabs attention, but not as much as I want it to, but so it's fun to drive.
So what drives you with this car?
Just the fun of having it. And this. mile too.
And you've obviously dragged this. Then you've done some.
Yeah, 3-4 times.
And what kind of time were you getting?
I was running a 1270.
Nice.
Can't remember the mile an hour, but.
And so when you had this car, like, what are some of the things you did in the past with the car? Because you've had it for 30 years. Like,
it was mostly car shows and cruising around. Now it's basically just going to get lost in back roads, enjoying the car.
Right.
So it's, it is what it is. And I want to drive it more. Retirement's coming and stuff like that. 5.5 years, so it's like probably have more time to drive it, but.
Nice.
You never have enough time to drive them. That's the thing.
No.
Life is so fast these days that
you got to make time, though. I think.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
It's awesome, though. And your whole family's kind of, I guess you could say, car crazy. Like, everybody seems very into them.
Yeah. My older daughter.
Is that your fault?
My older daughter likes a nice car, but she doesn't know anything about it. My middle daughter, she's got her truck and stuff like that. She gets a lot of compliments on the truck, and but she doesn't know anything about cars. But she tries. She respects a nice car. My kids grew up basically cleaning this car, getting it ready for car shows and stuff. Like the kids were like, God, they weren't even 10 years old. They were underneath the car, cleaning the bottom of the car with a toothbrush over the winter, getting it ready for car shows.
Wow. So having this car really brought your family together. Like, this is something you guys did. You spent a lot of time together.
Yeah, and they all have the respect for a car and stuff like that. Like my son, he's a big car guy. He's a licensed mechanic now here at the Ford dealer in Embrum. And he's got a Bronco 2 that we built when he was 16 and stuff like that. He wants to get that fixed up again, and it's his hot rod. And
nice.
He's got his F-150. He's got a Jeep mud truck that's all stretched and on 44-inch tires. He's quite the car
44.
guy. Yeah, he's sitting on 44s.
Holy shit! Donkey, that's big.
1-ton axles underneath it.
Wow, nice.
Sitting under a YJ.
Really?
The frame is stretched 24 inches. Just to give it wheelbase, because the drive shaft was too much of an angle.
Yeah. So you really had a big impact on your family there with vehicles.
Yeah.
And how did this passion start for you?
My dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up basically. My dad was always working on his own cars. Back in the time when, you'd basically work on your own cars, carburetors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dad got my interest in working on Mustangs, especially because he picked up a 65 Mustang coupe up at the campground at White Lake. And I must have been probably 8 or 9 years old at the time.
Wow.
And he bought it for $50. Yeah, that was back in 1976 or something like that, when cars were cars and weren't worth anything.
And you've had a lot of Fords in your lifestyle. Like your first car, you have another Ford. Your nephew's got a Ford. There's a lot of.
My nephew basically he got his '89 Mustang. Basically, it's a passion because he loved this car.
Yeah.
He was born. I had this car.
I see. So
he rode in this car. He fell in love with this car. He always wanted a Fox Body Mustang. So. What was it, last year? Yeah, last year he picked up an '89 Mustang. It's pretty much a rotten basket case, and I rebuilt it for him. I restored it for him.
That's awesome, man.
I must have over 600 hours in the car.
Wow.
And I told him, I said, you pay the parts, I'll give you my time, and that's it. So he's got like a $30,000 restoration for like $3,000.
Wow, I love that you've done that, and you've really found a way to spend more time with your family. It's brought your family more together, and what a cool hobby. What a great thing. That's what this show's about.
Yeah, it's cars. Cars are there to be with your family.
Right.
Like most people, and they say, oh, well, I have to get rid of my toy because I got another baby and there's no room in the car and blah, blah, blah. That's a whole load of crap.
Yeah, I'm actually getting another toy and I'm getting another baby.
I added a third seatbelt in the back.
Damn right, dude.
So I got 3 kids. I added a third seatbelt. All 3 of them would come to car shows with me and my wife and the dogs. And every car show, we had the 3 kids, the wife and the dogs. We did car shows. We traveled together with the cars. know, this car's been trailered once to a show, and that's in Ohio.
Right.
And that's because it was too long a distance, and there were too many people. I went with my dad, my mother-in-law, and
no car fire though, right?
No car fire, not that time.
Oh, that's
awesome. There was one time I went to a car show. It was it was in a car show in the Syracuse car show. I had another buddy from the Mustang club. He was following me, and there was a deer trying to cross the street.
Oh no!
So I was slowing down, making sure the deer wasn't going to cross the street. And as I slowed down, he was watching the deer too, and he rear-ended me with his Mustang.
Oh no! Oh.
So basically, I had to have the rear end of the car repainted. Went to the car show again.
Yeah.
And I just took a piece of paper and I wrote deer damage and stuck it to the bumper.
So why this body type? Why the Fox Body style?
It was what was available at the time.
Okay.
Because I've always wanted like a late 60s Mustang, and there was nothing. So I picked up a 1980 Mustang, which most of the parts are in this from that car, from that build.
Oh, so essentially a donor car in a way.
The first car I put on the road and mix-matched it with all sorts of parts I had kicking around. It was a scrap car I picked up for free, and had an engine kicking around, transmission kicking around, MacGyvered an exhaust, and picked up some wheels, and I worked at the Ford dealerships. I was able to get parts and stuff there pretty cheap, and so, I picked up this car and drove it like summer, winter, lasted about a year and a half, 2 years, and decided to take off from a stop one day, and seeing the car, the body was so weak, it folded a bit, and the passenger door wouldn't close anymore.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, okay, well, I had my fun with this car, and I spent like 3 years trying to find this body here, and my buddy basically bought the car for me and gave it to me.
Yeah.
So then started the building of this car, and it's always stayed.
So he knew that you liked this body style, so that's why he kind of...
Well, he knew, because he knew I was looking for a donor body, like a body shell. Told him I don't care what shape the paint's in, what motor's in it, what suspension. I just want a hollow Mustang shell.
Okay.
Because I've got all the parts to build it.
Nice.
So I needed something rust-free, and this was as rust-free as you can get at the time for a 10-year-old car. It was just dented.
Wow, and look at it now. Like, you've done so much to it, and it's amazing. Honestly, this is such a great story, and it's not just that story that I love. I love the fact that you're taking these cars that would essentially be either scrapped or... And you're bringing them back to life, and you're giving them a story, you're giving them purpose. Yeah. That's what the show's about.
I like saving the cars. Like, why waste the good car?
You know what? And because of that, I have something for you. Anybody on this show gets one of these Between the Wheels hat.
Oh, cool.
Because you have the true spirit of this, and you understand what it's like, to bring these cars back to life and use them for what they're designed for. So this is for you.
Hey, thanks.
Thanks so much for being on the show and sharing your story with us. Yeah, this is truly amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it, man. And we'll be back with your other Mustang next year, so make sure you keep watching.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
On the season's finale of Between the Wheels.
That's why I'm smiling every time I drive it.
It's kind of got that Top Gun feel. I like it.
One part of me is like, oh yeah, I'm super happy, but on the other part of it, okay, I need more power. No replacement for displacement. This is a Gen 3 LS 6-liter V8 out of a 2500 GMC Sierra.